In life, the people you surround yourself with can significantly impact your happiness and growth. It's important to recognize when certain relationships are no longer healthy and to make the difficult decision to remove these individuals from your life. Here are some types of people you should consider distancing yourself from. 1. The constant critic. The constant critic is someone we've all probably encountered at some point in our lives. This person always seems to find something wrong with you or what you do, no matter how hard you try. They could be a friend, family member, colleague, or even a partner. Instead of offering helpful advice, they focus on what you did wrong or what could have been better, often leaving you feeling deflated, frustrated, and questioning your self-worth. Imagine sharing something you're proud of. Maybe it's a project you've been working on for weeks, or a personal goal you've finally achieved. Instead of congratulating you, the constant critic points out what you could have done differently or better. Why didn't you use a different approach? Or, it's okay, but it's not as good as it could be. Over time, these comments start to chip away at your confidence, making you doubt your abilities and achievements. One of the most harmful aspects of the constant critic's behavior is that their feedback is rarely balanced. Constructive criticism is essential for growth, but it should come with encouragement and recognition of what you're doing right. The constant critic, however, often overlooks your strengths and focuses solely on your perceived flaws. If you're constantly hearing what's wrong without any acknowledgement of what's right, it's easy to start believing that you're not good enough, no matter what you do. For example, if you cook a meal and instead of appreciating the effort, the constant critic immediately comments on how it could have been seasoned better, or how it's not as good as what someone else made. These seemingly small critiques can build up over time, making you hesitant to try new things or share your successes, out of fear that they'll just find something wrong with it. What makes this especially tough is that the constant critic might be someone close to you, someone whose opinion you value and trust. This makes their words sting even more. When you're constantly exposed to negative feedback without any balance, it can seriously erode your self-esteem. You might find yourself overanalyzing everything you do, trying to preemptively fix what they might criticize, or worse, you might stop trying altogether because it feels like nothing will ever be good enough. It's important to remember that there's a big difference between constructive feedback and constant criticism. Constructive feedback is given with the intent to help you improve while still recognizing your efforts and achievements. The constant critic, on the other hand, seems more focused on pointing out what's wrong than helping you grow. If you have a constant critic in your life, it's crucial to protect your mental and emotional well-being. This might mean setting boundaries, letting them know how their words affect you, or if they can't change, limiting your exposure to their negativity. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, who can offer constructive advice when needed, but also celebrate your successes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone does wrong, it is not right to be affected, for it is his fault, not yours." This reminds us that the judgments of others are a reflection of their own issues and perspectives, not a measure of our worth or actions. How can you remind yourself of your own value and keep criticism in perspective without letting it diminish your self-esteem? Number 2, the energy vampire. The energy vampire is a person who can leave you feeling utterly drained after spending time with them. We all have that one friend, family member, or colleague who, after just a short conversation, leaves us feeling like we've run a marathon, emotionally and mentally exhausted. These individuals thrive on negativity, constant complaints, or an overwhelming neediness that seems to suck the life out of you. Picture this. You've had a good day, feeling positive and upbeat. Then you get a call from an energy vampire. Within minutes, the conversation takes a nosedive into a sea of complaints. Nothing is going right for them, everything is terrible, and no matter what suggestions or comforting words you offer, they seem to bounce right back to their original state of negativity. It's as if they are determined to find the cloud in every silver lining. What makes energy vampires particularly exhausting is their one-sidedness. It's not just that they're going through a tough time, we all have bad days, but with energy vampires, it's a constant state of being. They rarely, if ever, ask how you're doing or show interest in your life. Even when they do, the focus quickly shifts back to their problems. You could be in the middle of sharing something important, but they'll find a way to steer the conversation back to them, leaving you feeling unheard and emotionally drained. Another common trait of the energy vampire is their neediness. They may constantly require your attention, validation, or assistance, often to the point where it feels like they're dependent on you for their emotional stability. This can manifest as frequent calls or messages at all hours, expecting you to drop everything to tend to their needs. Over time, this can become overwhelming, making you feel like you're carrying the weight of their world on your shoulders. For instance, you might have a friend who always seems to be in a crisis. Every time you meet up or talk, it's about how awful things are for them, whether it's their job, relationships, or just life in general. No matter how much advice you give or how much you try to help, nothing ever seems to get better. Instead, they keep coming back to you with the same complaints, leaving you feeling powerless and depleted. Setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with an energy vampire. It's okay to limit the time you spend with them, or to be honest about how their behavior affects you. For instance, if they're constantly bringing up negative topics, you can gently steer the conversation towards something more positive, or suggest taking a break from the heavy stuff for a while. It's also important to protect your own energy by ensuring that you're not always the one they turn to for support, especially if it's draining you. Seneca said, "It is not that we are given a short life, but we waste much of it." Energy vampires can drain your precious time and vitality. Recognizing their impact helps you reclaim and protect your energy. How can you set boundaries to protect your energy and ensure you're investing it in ways that are meaningful and fulfilling? Remember, it's not selfish to prioritize your own mental and emotional health. You can't pour from an empty cup, and constantly dealing with an energy vampire can leave you running on empty. It's okay to take a step back and focus on relationships that are mutually supportive and energizing. After all, you deserve to feel good and to be around people who contribute positively to your life. 3. The manipulator. The manipulator is someone who, whether subtly or blatantly, bends situations and people to fit their agenda. They're skilled at using deception, guilt, or emotional tactics to control others, often leaving you questioning your own feelings, decisions, or even your reality. Recognizing when you're dealing with a manipulator is crucial to maintaining your autonomy, self-respect, and overall mental well-being. Imagine you have a friend who always seems to get their way, but something about the way they do it doesn't sit right with you. Maybe they often make you feel guilty for not spending more time with them, even though you're juggling a million responsibilities. They might say things like, "I guess you're just too busy for your old friends now," or "I thought we were closer than that." These comments are designed to make you feel bad, to stir up guilt, and make you bend to their wishes, even if it's not what you want or what's best for you. Manipulators are masters at twisting situations to their advantage. Let's say you're in a discussion with them, and they suddenly shift the conversation in a way that leaves you feeling like you're the one who's done something wrong, even when you know you haven't. For instance, you might express that you need more time for yourself, but they'll turn it around, saying something like, "I can't believe you'd be so selfish after everything I've done for you." This kind of manipulation can make you second-guess your feelings, causing you to give in to their demands just to avoid the guilt. Another hallmark of a manipulator is their ability to disguise their control as concern or care. They might say, "I'm just looking out for you," or "I only want what's best for you," but their actions tell a different story. They might advise you against doing something you really want, framing it as concern, when in reality they're just trying to keep you within their control. This can be especially confusing because it makes you question whether they're really just trying to help or if there's something more sinister at play. For example, imagine you're considering taking a new job or pursuing a new hobby that excites you. A manipulator might discourage you by saying, "Are you sure you can handle that? I'm just worried you might be taking on too much." On the surface, it seems like they're concerned, but if you dig deeper, you might realize that their real motive is to keep you from growing or stepping outside of their influence. One of the most dangerous aspects of dealing with a manipulator is the way they can erode your self-esteem over time. Constantly being manipulated can leave you feeling powerless, as if you're always the one in the wrong, or that you can never trust your own judgment. You might start to believe that you really are being selfish, ungrateful, or incapable, simply because that's what the manipulator has been telling you. This can lead to a cycle where you increasingly rely on them for validation and guidance, further entrenching their control over you. Breaking free from a manipulator starts with recognizing the signs. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions with them. Do you often feel guilty, anxious, or unsure of yourself? Do you find yourself doing things to please them, even when it's not what you really want? These are red flags that manipulation is at play. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Manipulators may attempt to control or deceive you, but your response can maintain your integrity and autonomy. How can you recognize and address manipulative behavior while maintaining your self-respect and autonomy? Remember, you have the right to live your life on your terms, without being manipulated or controlled by someone else. Trust your instincts, set clear boundaries, and prioritize relationships that are based on honesty, respect, and genuine care. By doing so, you'll protect your mental and emotional well-being, allowing you to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Number 4. The envious friend. The envious friend is someone who, instead of celebrating your successes, feels resentment or jealousy. While envy is a normal human emotion, it becomes toxic when it turns into constant bitterness, subtle sabotage, or a lack of genuine support. This type of friend might smile on the surface, but underneath they're wishing they had what you have, or worse, wishing you didn't have it at all. Recognizing and addressing this dynamic is essential for maintaining healthy, supportive friendships. Imagine you've just landed a big promotion at work, and you're excited to share the news. A supportive friend would probably congratulate you, maybe even suggest a celebratory night out. But the envious friend? Their reaction might be lukewarm at best. They might say something like, "Oh, that's great, I guess," or "You're so lucky, I wish I had connections like you." These comments may seem harmless, but they carry an undertone of resentment. Instead of celebrating with you, they're focused on what they don't have, making it hard for them to truly be happy for you. Another sign of an envious friend is how they react when things go wrong for you. A true friend will offer support and encouragement during tough times. An envious friend, however, might secretly feel a sense of satisfaction when you stumble because it brings you down to their level. They might not openly show it, but you might catch subtle hints of their pleasure, like a lack of empathy or an "I told you so" attitude. It's as if your struggles make them feel better about their own situation. Envious friends can also be subtly undermining. Suppose you're talking about starting a new project or pursuing a passion you're excited about. Instead of encouraging you, they might throw in doubts or negative comments. "Are you sure you're ready for that? It sounds really risky." Or "I don't know if that's the best idea, but if you think you can handle it." These remarks are designed to plant seeds of doubt, not because they're concerned for you, but because your potential success makes them uncomfortable. A true friend should uplift you, celebrate your victories, and support you through your challenges. If you notice that someone is consistently envious or undermining, it's important to address it. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties immediately, but rather having an open and honest conversation. You might say something like, "I've noticed that you don't seem very excited when good things happen for me, and it's starting to hurt our friendship. Can we talk about it?" How they respond will tell you a lot about whether they're willing to work through their envy, or if it's a deeper issue that might not change. Sometimes, people aren't even aware of how their envy affects their behavior. A conversation might help them realize the impact of their actions, and they might make an effort to change. But if they continue to bring negativity into your life, it might be time to distance yourself. Surrounding yourself with friends who genuinely want the best for you is crucial for your well-being and personal growth. Seneca advised, "Envy is the ulcer of the soul." An envious friend is often consumed by their own discontent, which can be corrosive to your relationship. How can you identify and address envious behavior in your friendships and ensure that your achievements are met with genuine support? At the end of the day, your friends should be your biggest cheerleaders, just as you should be theirs. Friendship is about mutual support, trust, and joy, not hidden resentment or envy. By recognizing and addressing envy in your friendships, you can ensure that your relationships are healthy, positive, and genuinely supportive, allowing everyone involved to thrive. So, the perpetual victim. The perpetual victim is someone who constantly sees themselves as the victim in every situation, never taking responsibility for their actions or circumstances. They're always caught in a cycle of blaming others for their problems and expect you to continually offer sympathy and support. While it's important to be compassionate and supportive, it's equally crucial to recognize when you're being pulled into a never-ending cycle of crisis that isn't your responsibility to fix. Imagine you have a friend who's always complaining about their job, relationships, or finances. Whenever you try to offer advice or solutions, they brush it off and continue to blame external factors for their issues. They might say things like, "I can't believe my boss is so unfair," or "If only my partner would change, everything would be perfect." Despite any advice or support you offer, they never seem to make any changes or take action themselves. Instead, they just want you to listen to their complaints over and over. This friend might constantly draw you into their drama, expecting you to be their therapist or problem solver. You could spend hours listening to their grievances, only for them to return with the same complaints the next time you talk. It can be emotionally draining to be caught in this cycle, especially when you realize that no matter how much support you offer, they aren't taking steps to improve their situation or hold themselves accountable. The perpetual victim often lacks self-awareness. They might genuinely believe that everyone and everything is against them, never seeing how their own choices contribute to their problems. For example, if they're always late to work and then complain about getting reprimanded, they might blame their boss for being too harsh, rather than acknowledging that their chronic lateness is the real issue. They expect you to side with them and criticize their boss, rather than encouraging them to reflect on their own behavior. Being around a perpetual victim can be exhausting. You might start to feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, trying to avoid upsetting them or triggering another round of complaints. They might even use guilt to manipulate you into providing more support. For instance, if you express that you're feeling overwhelmed or busy, they might say, "I'm sorry if I'm being a burden, but you know how tough things are for me," making you feel guilty for needing space. It's important to recognize that while everyone goes through tough times and needs support occasionally, a perpetual victim's behavior is a pattern rather than an exception. Their constant need for sympathy and unwillingness to take responsibility can strain your relationship and affect your own emotional well-being. Setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with a perpetual victim. It's okay to express that while you care about them, you also need to take care of yourself. You can gently steer conversations towards constructive solutions or suggest that they seek professional help if their problems are overwhelming. For example, you might say, "I understand that you're going through a lot, but I feel like we've been talking about this issue for a while now. Have you considered talking to a counselor or therapist who might be able to offer more support?" Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path. Never forget, within it is the opportunity to improve." Victims often avoid responsibility, but acknowledging obstacles as opportunities can help you avoid being dragged into their cycle of blame. How can you support someone who consistently plays the victim while maintaining healthy boundaries and avoiding the trap of enabling their behavior? Number 6. The gossip. The gossip is someone who's always chatting about other people behind their backs. Whether it's about colleagues, friends, or even acquaintances, they seem to relish sharing the latest juicy details or rumors. This type of person often thrives on drama and mistrust, and their behavior can seriously impact your own sense of security and trust in your social circles. Imagine working in an office where there's one colleague who's always ready with the latest scoop. They might casually drop comments like, "Did you hear about what Jane did last weekend?" Or, "I heard that Tom's relationship is on the rocks." At first, it might seem like harmless chatter, but it's a red flag. When someone's consistently talking about others, it's likely they're talking about you too, when you're not around. Moreover, gossip can often use their information as a way to manipulate or control social dynamics. They might spread rumors to create divisions, or to elevate their own status by making others look bad. For instance, if someone's spreading false information about a colleague to make themselves look more favorable, or to shift focus away from their own shortcomings, it's not just about the gossip, it's about their underlying motives and lack of integrity. Setting boundaries with a gossip is also important. You can gently let them know that you're not comfortable with discussing others in such a manner. For example, you might say, I prefer to keep our conversations focused on positive things rather than talking about other people. How about we discuss something else? This approach can help to deflect their gossip and set a clear boundary. Epictetus said, "What is the nature of this person's opinions?" The nature of the gossip is often to create division and distrust. Gossiping undermines trust and respect in relationships. How can you distance yourself from gossip and foster a more positive and trustworthy environment in your interactions? Number 7. The fair weather friend. The fair weather friend is someone who's only around when life is smooth sailing, but vanishes when things get tough. They're the type who'll celebrate your successes with you and join in on the fun, but when you hit a rough patch, they're nowhere to be found. This can be incredibly disheartening, especially when you've been there for them during their own ups and downs. Picture this. You have a friend who's always eager to hang out when you're planning a party or when you're doing something exciting. They might be the first to suggest going out for drinks or joining you on a spontaneous trip. Everything's great when everything's going well, and they're all smiles and enthusiasm. But when you're dealing with something challenging, like a tough breakup or a stressful work situation, they suddenly become MIA. Your calls go unanswered, and they're unresponsive to your messages. It feels like they've completely vanished when you could use a friend the most. This kind of behavior can leave you feeling used and undervalued. It's frustrating to feel like someone is only interested in being your friend when it's convenient for them. It can also lead to a sense of isolation, as you might start to question if you have anyone who genuinely cares about you through both the good and the bad times. To manage relationships with fair weather friends, it's important to recognize the patterns and set realistic expectations. Understand that this type of friend might not be reliable during tough times, and it's okay to adjust your expectations accordingly. While you might still enjoy their company during the good times, it's essential to build a network of friends who can provide support when you need them. Seneca observed, "A friend is someone who is always there for you, not just in moments of joy but also in times of trouble." True friendship is tested by adversity, not just by good times. How can you evaluate the reliability of your friendships and ensure that you have a support system that is consistent and reciprocal? Number 8. The controller. The controller is someone who tries to dictate your choices, whether it's how you spend your time, who you associate with, or even major life decisions. They often disguise their control as concern or care, but it's crucial to recognize when their influence crosses the line from helpful to overbearing. Consider a scenario where a family member constantly criticizes your career choices. They might suggest that you should pursue a different path or even make decisions for you, all while claiming it's for your own good. When you express a different opinion or try to assert your own desires, they may respond with guilt trips or manipulation, insisting that they know what's best for you. Reflect on whether their feedback is truly constructive or if it's a way to impose their will on you. How can you balance respecting their opinion with maintaining your own sense of direction? In a more extreme case, a partner might try to control who you spend time with or how you spend your free time. They might become upset or accusatory if you want to hang out with friends or engage in hobbies they don't approve of. They may frame their controlling behavior as protective or caring, but it's actually a way to limit your independence. Ask yourself, are you being asked to compromise too much? How does this affect your self-esteem and autonomy? This kind of control can be incredibly damaging to your self-worth and sense of self. It can make you feel like you're not trusted to make your own decisions and that your preferences are secondary to someone else's desires. Reflect on how their behavior affects your confidence. Do you find yourself second-guessing your choices? To navigate relationships with controllers, it's important to set clear boundaries and assert your own preferences. How can you communicate your need for independence while respecting their perspective? Establishing and maintaining your autonomy is crucial. If a person continually disregards your boundaries and tries to impose their will, it might be necessary to distance yourself to protect your well-being. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Controllers attempt to limit your freedom, but maintaining your independence is crucial for a fulfilling life. How can you assert your independence and maintain your autonomy in the face of someone trying to control your decisions? The pessimist. The pessimist is someone who consistently focuses on the negative aspects of life, often overshadowing any positive moments or achievements. While everyone has off days and moments of doubt, being around someone who constantly sees the glass as half empty can be emotionally draining. Imagine you have a friend who never misses an opportunity to point out the flaws in every situation. When you share exciting news about a new job opportunity, instead of celebrating with you, they immediately bring up the potential downsides and obstacles you might face. It's like they have a talent for finding the storm clouds in every silver lining. So how do you deal with this kind of negativity? Reflect on how their outlook affects your own mood and outlook. Are you starting to question your own successes because of their constant negativity? Consider another scenario where a family member is always pessimistic about your future. They might say things like, "You'll never be able to make it in that field," or "It's too risky to try something new." Their constant negativity can be discouraging and make you doubt your own abilities. How do you protect your own optimism in the face of their negativity? Is there a way to maintain your positive outlook without letting their pessimism drag you down? To navigate a relationship with a pessimist, it's essential to set boundaries around how much time you spend with them and how you engage in conversations. Consider if their negativity is affecting your well-being and whether you need to create some distance to protect your mental health. Reflect on the kind of support you need from your friends and family. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage optimism and support your dreams can make a significant difference in how you view challenges and setbacks. 10. The abuser. The abuser is someone who mistreats you in ways that can be physical, emotional, or mental. Their behavior can manifest as outright violence, harsh insults, or manipulative tactics designed to undermine your self-esteem and control your actions. Regardless of the form it takes, abuse in any form is unacceptable, and removing yourself from such a relationship is crucial for your safety and well-being. Imagine being in a relationship where every interaction leaves you feeling smaller and less capable. Your partner might use harsh words that chip away at your self-confidence, constantly belittling your efforts and achievements. They might criticize your appearance, question your worth, or create a climate of fear. Over time, this can erode your sense of self and make you doubt your own reality. So how do you recognize this as abuse, rather than just a rough patch? Physical abuse is another form of mistreatment that is often more overt but equally damaging. This can include hitting, pushing, or any form of violence that causes harm. If you're experiencing physical abuse, it's vital to prioritize your safety and seek help immediately. Are there specific incidents where you felt your safety was compromised? How do these incidents compare to your expectations of a healthy relationship? In any case of abuse, recognizing that it is not acceptable is the first step. It's important to understand that you deserve to be treated with respect and kindness. Reflect on your own needs and rights in a relationship. Are your boundaries being respected? Are you feeling safe and valued? Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Abusive behavior erodes your freedom and dignity, making it essential to remove yourself from such harmful situations to reclaim your self-respect. As we come to the end of this video, we can conclude that letting go of toxic people isn't easy, especially if they've been a part of your life for a long time. The bonds we form with others can be deeply intertwined with our sense of self and our daily routines. It's natural to feel conflicted or guilty about making changes, particularly when it involves distancing yourself from someone who has been a significant part of your life. But prioritizing your mental health and personal growth sometimes means making these tough decisions to create a healthier, more fulfilling environment for yourself. As you reflect on these ideas and consider the changes you might need to make, know that you're not alone. Many people face similar struggles and find strength in taking control of their relationships and their lives. By embracing a healthier circle of friends and distancing yourself from those who hold you back, you're making a powerful choice for your future happiness and well-being. If you found this discussion helpful and want to dive deeper into topics related to personal growth and healthy relationships, make sure to follow our channel Stay Stoic for more insights and support. Hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our latest content and join a community dedicated to fostering positive change. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you ever had to let go of a toxic relationship? How did you navigate that process? Your stories might resonate with others who are going through similar situations, and your insights could provide valuable support to someone in need.